how I meant to start streaming. That now it's intentional. The streaming is now intentional. Wow. You know what's super exciting is that it's what is that? I had to set up another scene in OBS to do a recording with Mia, which will be released soon. But I in doing so, I don't I per usual, I don't really know what's going on in my settings or how to use technology. I'm doing my best here. And you know what? You know what? I'm here and it is only 15 minutes past when I said I'd be here. Okay? And I think that means I'm doing pretty fucking good at things. My energy is really unhinged today. So I don't know what's up. Well, okay, I know a little bit of what's up. And a little bit of what's up is that I'm super overcaffeinated. What's exciting about that is that I haven't been able to be overcaffeinated in like a year. As many of you know, I have been incredibly ill. And overcaffeination has not been part of my life. So that's very exciting news to me because it means that maybe something that I'm doing is working. Um try again. Load the thing. Today we're gonna do some comeback things. We've got some unveils. We've got a Spotify thing. We've maybe got an intro. I haven't decided if I actually want to do the intro before I listen to the album or not. I usually don't really care about album spoilers, but like I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Ooh, hard carry. Sorry. Really, really, the energy, like I said, over caffeinated. So like I haven't been able to be over caffeinated in a really long time, but I've been drinking this protein, like this meal replacement shake called Huel that is like low histamine, and I've been having like energy, like real energy, which is very confusing. So I like went out and I did things today. I haven't even taken a nap today. I didn't even take my ADHD medication, which is to say the medication that makes me ADHD, which is surprising considering how fast I'm speaking right now. I've had a lot of caffeine. It's not even that much more caffeine than I usually have, though. It's just like more than my body used to be able to have. So that's really exciting. Is this maybe I'll have energy again and I won't need 300 milligrams of caffeine in order to and 50 milligrams of modafinil in order to function. I'm just hoping here. Where is now the downside is that my brain is not hello friends. Funny story. I'm I don't know what's going on because my brain doesn't know what's going on anymore. Hey, where are any of my window captures? And I'm going to watch Skiz? Yeah, listen. Hey, I'm just embracing. I'm embracing. Okay, see, and also all of my settings changed and like the screen is the what is going on? Why why is my why is my scene set up so weird? I didn't change my scene. I didn't change this scene. I just made a new scene. So why is my scene background weird? Um edit preview scaling, not canvas because canvas gets fucked. Transform fit to screen? Maybe fit to screen. Nope, that's the same exact thing. I don't understand why my video and my scene aren't the same size anymore. It's very confusing. Well, fine. I'll just move my thing and be confused when nothing works the way it's supposed to work. That's just what I will do about that. I guess. I suppose. Yes, so I'm gonna watch Skiz. What am I watching of Skiz? What am I watching first? I have Unveils. I have Unveils I haven't seen. Let's go to the Stray Kids page. The Stray Kids page is going to provide me the best information on what the fuck I'm doing right now. I think. I hope. Oh, I haven't seen this yet either. I don't know if I need to see this. I mean, I do want to see. I want to see that, but like I don't know that I need to do that as part of my streaming. Um Where are my unveils? Where are my unveils? Where are my other unveils? Is this not like in order or something? It's not in order. This is not. What order is this in? That's videos. Lord. Recently uploaded? Nani the fuck? I hate YouTube. Oh my gosh. Oh, I see. I was just on a... You haven't joined DC. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Like Washington, that's probably not Washington DC. Discord. Oh. I thought you were in my Discord for some reason. I must be getting you confused with somebody else. Somebody else with a V. Or maybe a Q. Sometimes my V's and my Q's get confused. I am really over energized today. Dear God, help me. What is happening? How am I supposed to function like this? I don't know. I'm really annoyed at... Interesting. That didn't do what I wanted it to do. It was interesting though. But not what I wanted. Transform. Center. Nope. I need so many more. Ooh, I figured it out. Clearly, this is... Oh, what? That's confusing. Oh, wow. This is awful. Okay, well. We're just, I guess, just gonna continue on that note, and I will figure out what the fuck is happening with my scene scaling later. I suppose. I guess. Okay, headphones. It's headphone time. Oh God. Oh, right. I need to make sure that... So yeah, right. Remember YouTube, folks. If you haven't been here before, first of all, hi. Oh my God, why am I so stretchy now? What did I do to make me stretchy? Why am I stretchy? I don't want to be stretchy. I don't like this. Anyway, if you're on YouTube, then funny story, YouTubers. YouTube really hates me streaming things. It's just really, it doesn't like it. Not a fan. Big not fan. So I'm gonna keep an eye on YouTube, and if it starts to undo stretch. Oh my gosh, thank goodness. If it starts to be like, hey, you're gonna get copyright issues, then unfortunately I'm gonna have to then leave YouTube. So I'm gonna try my best. But usually it's fine with unveils and very bad with literally anything else. Like, so music videos, unveils, and music, it's usually fine with. So we will do those first. And then usually like any other type of content, it just hates. So we're gonna do our best. It's all we can do, even when we are way over caffeinated. Whew. I should have like taken an edible or something before this. This is a mess. I'm a mess. We're all a mess. It's okay. It's fine. All right. I got those things open. Cool. If the audio is fucked, let me know. Because it's probably because I changed some settings around in some of my other scenes, and I hopefully know how to fix it. I mean, bold assumption considering, you know, all this. Wow, I don't need all of that. Okay, I think that we've just got... Oh, God! That was really loud. I don't know if that was as loud for you. Wow, Play Mess by Stray Kids. Thanks. Thanks, friend. Wow. My followers are coming at me. And I was here on time. Well, I was only here 10 minutes past on time. I was only 10 minutes late. I should be getting applause, not destroyed in my comments section. Come on now. That was so fucking loud. I don't need it to be that loud. I don't know how loud it was for y'all. That was real fucking loud for me. Okay, so per usual, what are we gonna do? We're gonna do the whole thing, watch through, and then I'll oh, I sat down. That was a decision that I made. And then I will do my incessant pausing. We're good. Everything's good. Everything's good. We're fine. Sorry, I'm still stuck on cappuccino and Americano. That needs several watch throughs to handle. Because that was a... They just threw cappuccino and Americano at me and then expected me to cope with it. And that's rude. That's so rude. Why would they do that to me? During a trailer? You're gonna throw the cringiest possible. You're gonna throw the dorkiest line of this particular comeback at me. It may not be the dorkiest line, let's be honest. We never really know what the dorkiest line is going to be. But cappuccino and Americano, this and that, we're getting... it's gotta be pretty close. It was to trick you into missing their reference to their poor work-life balance. Yo, KG, you're right. They're just throwing more caffeine at me. I don't need more caffeine, Stray Kids. I am not you. Hyunjin, I don't need 4 to 5 cups of coffee a day in order to function. Jesus. Do we do all the unveils first and then go through screen by screen? Yeah, let's do all of them first and then go through screen by screen. Except I need to watch that again. They sure do. They sure do various things. What a great resume. Like you just what do you do with your life? And you just throw that song into the resume. Just when you're applying for jobs and they ask for a cover letter, you just link in whatever this music video ends up being. This and that. I don't know. I do things and drink a lot of caffeine to cope with it. um yeah, this and that. This and that. But to do other unveils, which is oh right, because they released the this and that teaser at the same time that they revealed back then song by version, and I already know, like I already know that this is going to be suffering. And I already know that I'm going to be very conflicted about whether I want this to only be 40 seconds and to stay being only 40 seconds, or if I'm going to be devastated if they don't give me a full song by version. So this is a big emotional whiplash. And I don't know that my deeply overcaffeinated brain is capable of being in the right emotional resonance for whatever is about to happen. And yes, I am avoiding it. Why did they start with Rain Foley, right? I'm not supposed to pause. I'm not supposed to pause because then I'd crash out.
우리 같이 웃었던 날 영화를 틀어놓고 서로만 봤던 날 그날
Wow, fuck him. Fuck them. Fuck whatever just happened. Fuck whatever's gonna happen. I'm out. I'm done. I want this and that. Give me OT8 and song by. Yeah. Give me both, but also don't. Because what's wrong with you? What's wrong with them? I don't need more. Also, is this going to be. Am I going to be able to make this into more mixtape lore? Am I going to be able to add this to mixtape lore? Because if I am, I'm going. I don't have an appropriate threat. How do I threaten Stray Kids? How do I cause them emotional damage? Like, I need to return the emotional damage that they have caused me. You know? I feel like that's only fair. And yet, I don't know, what am I threatening them with? What's your theory, friend? Thank you for the hugs. I need them. Mixtape Sungmin doing song by thinking about the friends he left behind because he's an idol. Oh my god, it's meta. It's so meta because it's oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no because that would be song by Sungmin singing about his friends while his friends sing about him in the mixtape. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. We're gonna go back to the this and that. unveil. And I'm going to go through it in slow. I'm going to go through it in slow. And I'm not going to go back to that unveil because I don't need to. It's not necessary. I don't need those feelings. And there's not lore that they're showing me. There's just Seungmin sitting around being wistful. That's all it is. So I don't need to break it down screen by screen or emotion by emotion. This works perfectly with the time travel plotline, unfortunately. I have to inform you. Because he's still idle in the time travel. It's still idle Seungmin in the one timeline, and an ad is starting. That's why I'm continuing to ramble about this. It's not just the caffeine. How long does it take for caffeine to wear off? Because then that means all of his songs are mixtape. Shut up. Shut your mouth. Shut your keyboard. Shut your presence. I don't need to know about this. I don't need to consider the possibility that all song buys are canon in the mixtape universe lore. Does that make the Seungmin triptych is in lore? Listen, anything can be in lore if you believe hard enough. That's how Stray Kids works. The reason why Stray Kids doesn't give us understandable lore is so that everything can be canon if you try hard enough. Right? They just want to give us this and that. I fucking hate them. I fucking hate them for doing this pun shit to me all the fucking time. I don't need, you already made a song of jam puns, right? You made a song of jam puns, and the puns and double entendres really could have stopped at jam, right? Like, you said, I bet that we're popular enough that I could make a song all about spreadables. And you did. And you don't have to keep proving it. Do it, this and that. Fucking whatever. They are all about heartbreak and leaving people behind. They sure are. You're not my friend anymore. I just need you all to know that. I don't have friends in this household. Okay. Ad is over. We can do my stupid break this down screen by screen bullshit now. I think the beat is interesting, and then also it's a Stray Kids title track, so like I have no reason to believe that this is what the majority of the song sounds like. Like, do any of us have reason to believe that this is what the song actually sounds like and not what like 4 measures of the song sounds like? Because okay, wait. Let's see. Because we got to figure out some lore shit. Okay, we've got, what's our lore shit that we've got? We've got cars. None of them are on fire yet, but they are sports cars. So we've got sports cars, bisexual coloring, mirrors, broken mirrors, universe fucked, whatever, normal fucked universe shit. I do believe that the intro has so much extra from this and that. When you say so much extra from this and that, do you mean so much of the rest of the song, or just so much extra information because I believe both of those things. I don't know why this is so entertaining. This gives me a very similar entertainment value to when we were going back and forth with Hyunjin diving into the pool. Recording sections from the song. Yeah, okay. I know that I saw other things. I don't know what all these papers are. Cappuccino and Americano. Looks so pretty. Cappuccino and Americano. We've got some it's hard to tell. I'll be interested in I do think that those are the lighting is weird. Yeah, the spider webbing, it doesn't really look like liquid. It looks like spider webbing. I don't know. It's I will keep bringing up Gen AI, but I also just know that JYPE uses Gen AI, and this is just like what it is. So, Chan transportation reference. Where's the Chan transportation reference? Besides this headless horseman. Oh my god, do you think they're like... No. There's no horseman of death. A horseman of death is not part of the Stray Kids lore. Do not listen to me. I'm so caffeinated. Han looks incredible. Look at his hair. Look at his hair. Fuck. He looks so good. Every single screen of this is incredible. Why has my entire Threads profile not been crashing out about how good Han looks? What is... Y'all are falling down on the job. Jesus. They have this thing with stairwell... Oh, fucking hell. Am I gonna have to add stairwells to the motif board? I'm so tired of motifs. I'm so tired of motifs. Yeah, there's something very, Escher-esque. Yeah, bleep reference. Yeah, we do. We do have that. Hey, do you want to load, like, appropriately? Like, properly? That'd be really cool if you loaded the way that I wanted you to load. That'd be super fucking dope, actually. Hello, friends! Ooh! That was nice. I like that lighting. I like that lighting change. Ooh. Ooh, that's fun. Ooh, and it inverses, too. The entire thing inverses. Ooh. That is very fun. I like it a lot. Okay, what's with this fucking Fallout-ass eyeball? Someone explain why Fallout robots are here. Like, I know that I have a post-apocalypse storyline thing, but, like, this is too Fallout on the nose. Y'all have played Fallout, right? I'm not making a reference that I think is super obvious and is secretly really obscure. Like, no one's baffled at what I mean. Hold on. It's the eye from the end of Golden Disc. I don't know what those words mean. I don't know what those words mean. I finally watched Fallout Season 2. Oh my god, it was just as fucking good as Fallout Season 1. It's so fucking good. That show is absolutely incredible. Yeah. Here we go. I found what I'm looking for. For those who don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, I'm talking about, Where did the image go? No, I don't want all this. I don't want all this. I want the image. I want this file. No. Come on now. Anyway, this robot looks like one of these. Tell me I'm wrong. You can't, because I'm not. Oh, the Golden Disc performance people went down. Oh, the award show. Okay, sorry. It's been too long. I thought you were talking about like a different album or a different. I forgot about the award show. Yes, there have been eyes showing up. Eyes is definitely a motif. But this eye in particular looks like a fucking Fallout robot. None of them have heads. Are there cyclopses? Is that the deal? I don't know. Weird monster shit. Weird monster shit. Yeah, I know. You do shows and then you go straight to the studio even though you should sleep. And you're going to talk about that like it's super cool and like you're super badass for it and that's fine. We don't have to unpack all that. We don't have to unpack all of that. Oh, look at that shirt. Oh my god. That shirt is so good. What a good shirt. The styling's going to be awesome. I can already tell the styling's going to be dope as fuck. Am I frozen? I might be frozen. It looks like I'm frozen. It does look like I'm frozen. I don't know why I'm frozen. Am I frozen on both? YouTube is not receiving enough. Okay, hold on. I'll figure it out. I don't know why this is happening. Where's OBS? Where did OBS go? I don't know what's happening. Oh, okay. Well, if it resolved itself, then cool. Yeah, OBS seems to think that I'm sending things just fine. But YouTube and Twitch got confused, but that's fine. We are good now. Cool. So we did that. Let's do Spotify. Let's do the Spotify interview if I can find it. Three Racha Spotify podcast. I know that I saw a subtitled one. I hope it's any good. I don't know the subtitler. Oh god, there's so many subtitlers. Oh jeez. It's really hard to figure out because we used to have very consistent fan subbers who were amazing fan subbers. And then the ability to do auto translate came out, and now it's really hard to know which fan subbers are actually like doing a good job and which ones are just throwing on some type of auto translate that may or may not be of actual quality.
인사드리겠습니다. 하나, 둘.
Let's see. Does anyone here tell me if they're good? No. Okay, I'll just try my best. The subtitles came straight from Spotify? Then why didn't Spotify post it? Oh, this person just screen recorded the video. Oh, I see. I see. I see where there's subtitles here. Oh. Oh, is the deal that it's only on like your phone? And so people just have to upload it in some different way? Is that how this works? Cuz that would track. Okay.
인사드리겠습니다. 하나, 둘, 원, 투.
Okay, 480 is the best I'm gonna get. All right. It's just they're really small subtitles for actually showing up on screen, but I think that that's just what I've got to do. Sorry.
알지? 뭐지? 내가 뭐지? 3인가 내가? 내가 3야.
I need to open up my YouTube because I have a feeling YouTube's going to get mad at me for this. We'll find out.
얘 너가 3였어? 와, 안 맞지 뭐. 안녕하세요, 스리아차입니다. 네, 안녕하세요, 스리아차입니다. 안녕하세요, 스리아차. 그래. 옛날 건 가끔은 버려야 될 때도 있어. 그냥 클린 깔끔한 게 멋있잖아. 원래.
I love that because they have been so bad. They have been so bad at actually doing their sriracha whatever introduction. God bless them.
될 때도 있어. 그냥 클린 깔끔한 게 멋있잖아. 원래 다 가져가면 무거워서 오래 못 가. 우리 힙한 건 안 어울려. 힙한 게 안 어울린다고? 우리 힙하지 않아. 힙하지 않아? 형만 안 힙한 거 아니야?
They finally figured it out. You know, they saying get cool to try to be inspirational to themselves, and I'm glad they finally figured out that that is not actually within their skill set to be cool. and no, Han, none of you are.
형은 힘이 크잖아 그냥. 저는 그냥 힘이 큰 거기 때문에. 네, 맞습니다. 예. 힘이 큰 사람.
자, 아무튼 네, 지금 스야차가 왔고요. 저희가 너무 또 좋은 기회로 팟캐스트 형식으로 저희가 또 이런저런 얘기를 나눌 예정인데
맞습니다.
여러분들이 보고 있는 지금 이 팟캐스트의 제목은 스야차 세션입니다. 왜 세션이냐? 세션은 사실 뭐 그냥 세션이 진짜 그거예요.
곡 만드는 거 사람 모여서.
사람들이 모여서 함께 뭔가를 공유하고 얘기하고
Hi, friend.
뭔가를 만들어내고 그런 시간이지 않을까 싶은데요. 그치. 어쨌든 단어 자체의 뜻은 정해진 시간인데 그래서 뭐 춤 세션이 있을 수도 있고 곡
잼
세션이 있을
세션
수도
있어요?
있고. 춤 세션 있죠. 잼 세션도 있고.
I really love this. You can tell that they are people who, like, you can, it's not that you can tell they're songwriters, but you can tell that as songwriters, they are people with deep interest in language. And of course, we all know this about them as songwriters. We know that they do a lot of play with language. It's very clear if you pay any attention to their lyrics at all that they are people who are very invested in language. And I'm always really, as somebody else who's very invested in language, it's always really exciting to me when you get the opportunity to see them just kind of be nerds about linguistics. Right? To sit there and hash out like, what does this word mean? What's the definition of this? What does it imply? What are our different like ways we can conceptualize this word? It also makes me wonder a little bit about that collaborative songwriting process. And how much of the collaborative songwriting process involves exactly discussions like this of, you know, if we're thinking about a word or a phrase or a concept, And that word or phrase or concept is something that we want to utilize. Okay, what does that word or phrase or concept evoke beyond just like the immediate, beyond the obvious or the intuitive to most people? What else is underneath that word? And so whenever I see Thracha sit down and start to go through this, I become very, very intrigued. This is also one of those things where, like, as a clinical therapist, as a narrative therapist, I've said it before, and I'll continue to say it always. A lot of our problems as people are sort of definitional in aspect. They come down to the way that we, whether as individuals or the larger we as a collective, think about, contemplate, and define different things. Uh, Communication issues are often definitional. Obviously, not everything is definitional, but many things are. Um, and there's a reason why not just linguistics, but like a lot of philosophy. Ultimately, when you look at a lot of philosophy, um, even metaphysical philosophy, which is like, you don't often get necessarily a lot of overlap between metaphysic philosophy and like hard and fast, like historical philosophy or economic philosophy, right? But a lot of philosophy of all kinds is about definitions. In fact, if you look at the idea of Platonic ideals, what is a Platonic ideal? The Platonic ideal is the definitional truth on a metaphysic level, right? But just the same way, classical economics attempts to define human behavior in set ways versus, you know, more versus, like, let's say Keynesian economics, which talks about the animal instincts, which is still human definitional, right? We're trying to determine, are humans definitionally rational and logical, or definitionally emotional, or somewhere in between? So the ability to sit down and unpack a singular word is actually an incredibly valuable skill in basically every single part of your life. Uh, you know, this same conversation could be a philosophical one. It could be from songwriters. It could be from fiction writers. It could be from, like, political science majors. You could see this type of conversation all across the board for a reason, and that's because definitional interest is a primary academic motivator. So, I think that this is one of the ways that Thuracha shows themselves as academics, which is not a way we normally think about Thuracha. We don't normally think about Thuracha as academics, but there's definitely many ways in which they musically are academic.
예를 들면 뭐 헬스 세션, 그건 PT. 그건
workout session이라 보통 하고요.
워크아웃 세션이라고 하잖아요, 그거를.
맞아. 되게 잘한다.
진짜 세션이에요?
그래서 이게 세션인 게 되게 그냥 정해진 시간이라는 뜻이어서.
그럼 스리라차의 세션이구나.
저희 스리라차 팟캐스트는 스리라차 세션으로 정했습니다.
아, 좋습니다.
아무튼 이렇게 팟캐스트 세션을 하게 되었는데
맞네요, 드디어.
기분이 어떠냐고요?
어때요?
뭔가 부담스럽습니다. 뭔가 이제 이제 스리라차잖아요. 스리라차니까 일단 뭔가 음악에 대한 얘기 많이 할 것 같아요. 근데 이쪽에서 뭔가 유식한 말을 많이 해야 될 것 같은데.
음악 얘기였어? 나 오늘 요리 얘기인 줄 알았는데.
그거면 더 이제 우리 밑바닥을 보여줄 수 있는 거지, 그러면.
우리 드라마 얘기하는 거 아니었어요?
너무 재밌겠다.
그래.
그래서 약간 뭔가 되게 멋있는 말을 많이 해야 될 것 같은데
괜히 약간 부담
그런 거는 부담은 있지만 그래도
뭐지?
최대한 재밌게 해보는 걸로 아는 선에서는 열심히 한번.
And this is so interesting, right? Because I just said, like, they are musical academics, and then we have Han coming in being like, we're coming on here and we're going to be expected to talk about music, and I'm not really an academic about music. I don't really know what I'm doing, which I think is probably very like Dunning-Kruger of him. I have a feeling he knows a lot about music. He just doesn't have the level of expertise that he knows exists out there. So for folks who don't really have a concept of what Dunning-Kruger is, or who have only a very vague one, usually people talk about Dunning-Kruger in reference to people who know a very little bit about something and thus think they know a lot about it. There's more to Dunning-Kruger, though. Dunning-Kruger is about like a curve of knowledge. So Dunning-Kruger talks about how like we start our knowledge base, and when people start to learn something and they don't have a concept, they don't have knowledge of how much information there is to learn, how much about that skill there is, they tend to think they know a lot about it. They have very high confidence about how much they know. And then as they actually learn more about it, they realize how much more there is to learn, and their confidence starts to wane. And sometimes people get to what is sometimes called the I think it's sometimes called something like the pit of despair or something, where they know enough to feel incredibly overwhelmed by how much there is to know, and to feel very, very uncertain about if they'll ever be able to know as much as there is to know. So they fall into this pit of despair, and sometimes people really stop there. Sometimes people get so distressed about their own lack of expertise in something that's where it ends. I've seen that happen a lot to people with skills, where they will develop skills over time. Hello, friend. They'll develop skills, and in their skill development, they'll get to a place where they are very aware of, like, so let's take art. They are very aware of the expansiveness of how many like artistic skills there are, and like what other people can do and what experts can do and things like that. And they'll look at theirs and they'll be like, I can't do that. I can't do that. I don't know how to do that. And it would take so long for me to get there. And I don't know that I can. Whereas to the average person who knows almost nothing, that individual is very skilled, is very knowledgeable, right? And then they start to learn a little bit more, and their confidence starts to go up again, and you sit for a while in a place of like general confidence, but also general uncertainty, until over time you develop a level of like actually being confident in your own expertise based on your knowledge of the field. So my guess is that Han here has, like, he's not a theoretician. He's not a music theoretician, right? He's not becoming a professor, an academic professor of it anytime soon. My guess is that he is somewhere in that Dunning-Kruger area of someone who knows that they know what they're doing, but also is extremely aware of the huge amount of stuff that they know that they don't know, and maybe still feels a little unconfident in this part of it, which is to say the academic part of it, right? He's talking about like knowing big words, or talking about like essentially academic concepts. you know, that's like a little bit, I'm not even going to call it imposter syndrome. Very often it's based legitimately on your understanding that like I am not a PhD in this. I am not an academic. I'm an applicator. I apply concepts. That doesn't mean that I have all of the theoretical backing of those concepts. Right? So we're not even necessarily going to call it imposter syndrome, but it is perhaps a little bit of like increased humility, reduced confidence, based on the fact that you know that there's so much you don't know. But to the average person, I would bet that Han knows a lot more about music academically than most average people, you know? So that was a really long tangent about that.
해보겠습니다.
찬민이는
뭔가 저는 카메라 없다 생각하고 그냥 막 말하려고요.
아 너무
그냥
막말하면
뭔가
안 되고 이따
걱정하지
혼자
마세요. 너무 걱정하지 마시고.
알겠습니다.
저희 근데 사실 그건 있어요. 스리라차라는 그거를 사실 뭔가
Whereas Changbin is just like, if I focus too much on the pressure, I'm gonna be worse at this. Han is like, if I don't focus on the pressure, I'm gonna say something wrong or stupid or silly. And Changbin's like, I'm probably not gonna say something stupid as long as I don't focus on the pressure. Probably closer to the truth for most people, but not everybody.
세우는 게 좀 저는 약간 어색해요. 뭔가 팀 스트레이키즈라는 팀에 있고 스리라차는 그 밑에서 이제 받쳐주면서 뭔가 프로듀싱을 같이 도와주고 하는 그런 느낌으로서 뭔가 바탕에 있어야 되는데 뭔가 이렇게 내세워져서 이렇게 촬영을 하니까 또 약간의 좀 긴장이 되고 그런 것 같습니다. 예.
그렇군요.
설레기도 하면서도 또 이게 또 재밌네요.
나도 비슷했던 것 같아. 팟캐스트라 해가지고 그냥 스튜디오가 아닌 그냥 책상 하나 두고 마이크 세우고 이렇게 그냥 대화만 나누는 그런 건지 알았는데 생각보다 너무 꾸며주셔서
they're all having a little bit of humility issues here. Per usual, right? Like, no shocker. They definitely, obviously humility, some extent, is a little bit of a, cultural value, but also they have integrated that into the core of Stray Kids so much. That sort of like, but why you're just gonna give us we're just gonna randomly like talk some shit, right? Like, this isn't like serious, right? Like, because we're not serious people. We're not serious musicians. We're just musicians. But they are serious musicians, even if they don't take themselves as seriously, which is part of the way you become a serious musician. So I think that's interesting, and I think that this makes that makes this. Do you know how many fucking times I have gotten the words this and that mixed up over the last week? Like, I have said these words in the wrong order so many times. I have gotten my thises and my that's tongue twisted over and over again. And I don't know if I've always done this or if it's their fault, but I am blaming them regardless. I've decided it's their fault, so now it's their fault. Oh my gosh, why was my Maltese chat not scrolling? I know Sriracha work with outside producers. How often does he really have to explain music stuff? Yeah, no, that's probably well, I don't know how often Han would have to explain music stuff. I would bet that Chan and Changbin have. I mean, like, well, but Han probably has too, because like they have, for instance, done a lot of like mentoring other members at some of the production stuff. Hyunjin, I think of especially, and yes, they probably have, like, they're probably mentored by other producers as well, but you're right, though, that, like, there's probably a shared language to an extent with Stray Kids that's much less formal and much less academic. I think that also, though, people who know music forget what types of things are academic, right? Like, what types of things count as music theory, right? I think, for instance, a lot of people who know music, they're not considering, like, understanding, going down a fifth and, like, when you would do that to be academic, right? They're not necessarily considering, like, what's the difference between harmonizing and doing multiple octaves to be academic. Whereas people who don't know any music theory, like, I know people who don't know how to read notes. I know a lot of people who don't know how to read notes. They certainly aren't, talking about, like, minor and major chords, right? And that's yes, that is quite basic music theory, but that is part of our academia, which again comes back to that, like, Dunning-Kruger aspect. Is that these things feel super, super basic to some people, and there's an assumption that everybody knows them. I remember, because I grew up in a very musical family, and I also grew up in a very musical school district. Like, we had a music class in my elementary school where we learned notes and, learned basics about music. I remember finding out that I knew a lot of people who didn't know how to read sheet music at a basic level and being really surprised. So I think that there's also, like, a bit of that dynamic of, again, part of Dunning-Kruger is no longer knowing what basic information actually is versus just, like, information that everybody knows.
아우 이게
본격적이네요.
뭔가 괜히 이게 막 부담도 되는 것 같고.
사실 찬이 형이 헤매를 받지 말자고 했어요.
내가 원래
안
그랬었어.
받았으면 큰일 날 뻔했어요.
그러니까 야 그냥 우리 그냥 하면 안 돼? 이렇게 그냥 하자 이러다가
그렇게 하면
그러면 안 될 것 같아서.
그럼 오늘 촬영이 취소가 됐을 거예요.
왜냐면 이제 이 작업이라는 게 큰 맥락 안에서 정말 자그마한 디테일들이 되게 많다 보니 그런 얘기들을 그냥 편하게 하면 될 것 같고, 이런 기회로 또 뭔가 또 알리고 싶기도 하고, 아직까지도 뭔가 얘네 진짜 얘네 곡 써? 이런 얘기도 듣기도 하니까 이게 또 뭔가 딱히 신경도 안 쓰고 그냥 우린 그냥 한 대로 하긴 하니까 뭐 믿거나 말거나 이런 느낌.
믿어주세요.
네.
Chan, we just do it and we don't really care what people say at this point. Han, please believe us. I can't, don't listen to him. Do not listen to him. I care. That's so cute.
많이 봐주시고요.
자, 그러면 오늘 첫 번째 주제는 스리라차입니다.
저희가 또 되게 매운 맛을 또 가지고 있잖아요. 소스는 또 음식에도 소스가 있지만 또 스리라차 소스가 또 음악에도 또 이렇게 담기지 않으면 되게 심심함이 있기 때문에
심심하네요, 진짜.
오늘은 그
Line was really bland.
스리라차에 대한 얘기를 한번 해보도록 할게요.
네, 좋습니다.
야, 그럼 우리 스리라차의 탄생부터 한번 얘기해 볼까?
스리라차 탄생.
자, 탄생부터 얘기하자면요. 저희 원래 스리라차가 아니었죠. 원래는 YLI였습니다. 표기로 하면은 YLIE였죠. 예. 그러니까 왜
엔터테인먼트
이제
Young leaders in entertainment. Wow. Sriracha is better. And when I tell people about the pun, they do get upset and it's much better. It's much better.
왜냐면 그때 뭐 JYP 연습생이었고 그 로고가 이제 JYP 엔터테인먼트 그 Leaders in Entertainment인데 저희가 그거를 따서 YLIE.
You were inspired by the idea of young leaders in entertainment. Yeah, no, that's one of those things where you decide that because you're young. And then, like, 3 years later, you're like, oh God, now I have to introduce myself as a self-titled young leader in entertainment. And then what happens when you're like 50 and you're still young leader in entertainment? And then you have to tell that backstory. Like, yes, there'll always be stray kids. And you can use the same logic of being always young at heart, but young leader in entertainment is... That sounds like, okay, so I went to a lot of gifted and talented summer programs, and that sounds like the way that those summer programs were named, right? The Summer Institute for the Gifted and Talented. The oh god, what were some of the other ones? They were all things like that, and they were all very pretentious sounding.
그러니까 Young Leaders in Entertainment를 해서 또 이제 발음으로 하면은 Why lie? 왜 거짓말하냐? 음악할 때는 이런 뜻으로 Why lie로 하다가
이제 근데 이제 좀 구리다고 해서.
맞아.
Yeah, it was. That's because it was.
직설적인.
Yeah.
별론데? 그럼 뭐가 좋냐?
저 사실 스리라차 더 구렸어요.
저도 스리라차 처음 들었을 때 이게 뭐예요? 난 그때 스리라차 소스도 몰랐단 말이야. 근데 스리라차로
They didn't know sriracha sauce. Oh my gosh, they were told to go with sriracha. Okay, so I need to hold on.
이러니까 라차가
돌풍이라는 뜻이고
솔직히 난 어거지로 맞힌 줄 알았어. 그거를. 근데 이게 또 우리 세 명의 매운맛을 보여줄 수 있는 시작이 될지 누가 알았겠어.
Wow, they didn't come up with the name? Oh, that's very funny. I find it funny that they did not start being... I mean, like, they did start trying to do loser puns. And I guess someone was like, okay, these kids clearly want a dorky pun. I guess we'll figure out a dorky pun. And then what? They just leaned into dorky puns? This is wild. They didn't come up with it? Or maybe, like, there were several that, like, Chan came up with or something. No, it doesn't sound like that. That's wild.
맞지. 아 근데 나는 사실 네 깍대로 잘 이제 해 나가고 있어서 정말 다행이라 생각하는데.
맞아요.
아직도 뭔가 뭐 의미를. 그러니까 예를 들면은 뭔가 지인들한테 얘기할 때 사실 아직도 조금 망설여져요.
God, no wonder they've never been able to introduce themselves properly if they didn't even come up with the name. They had this name and they were like, I don't get it. I don't get it. It sounds lame. It sounds silly. I don't understand the pun. I don't understand the food. And how I don't emotionally resonate with this. And then they just had to think of an intro for it. No wonder that did not go well. I also hesitate when talking about Sriracha to people because I'm like, I don't know how to explain Sriracha without really over explaining a lot of things.
스리라차라는 걸 잘 모르면은 정말
이제 말하기 좀
그렇죠. 그래서 그냥 찬이 형이랑 한이랑 나랑 뭐 이렇게 한다, 뭐 한다, 작업한다 이렇게 얘기를 하는데
자신감 가져.
근데 그게 있어요. 우리가
있어요.
그때 스리라차라는 이름을 딱 만들고 나서 그때 받았을 때 근데 솔직히 소스 이름이 워낙 이미지가 강하니까
맞아요.
너무 헷갈리지 않을까 했는데 아니야 너네가 그 소스보다 유명해지면 되지 라고 했어.
그죠.
근데 아직까지는
You just need to get more famous than sriracha sauce. Insane thing to say to a child. Unhinged. Unhinged thing to say to an entire child. Because Han was what? 15? Because Sriracha, yeah, was 2016, right? So unless they were after September, Han was 15 going on 16. And you say to a kid, like, well, just gotta get more famous than the sauce. And, like, maybe that was a joke. I don't know if Han took it as a joke. Sometimes when you have snarky teenagers, you assume that you can snark with them and they'll understand. They don't always. No, you gotta be real careful when you snark with snarky teenagers, because sometimes those snarky teenagers are very sensitive also, and if they are not certain whether or not you're being snarky, they're just gonna assume you're not, and fully internalize whatever you just said. You never know, they might take it and run to actually do it. Getting more famous than sriracha sauce, it would be really impressive for anyone. And I mean, maybe sriracha is not as, like, globally famous as I feel like it is, because that's definitely just, like, a household name in the Northern Americas, but that seems like a wild ambition. That feels very unhinged to me. Like, that feels like saying we just need to become more famous than Pepsi, right? Like, feels like a lot.
소스가 훨씬 더 유명하다.
맞아.
우리 열심히 해야 된다.
그치, 우리
분발해야 된다.
근데 또 재밌는 건 뭐 콘서트나 이런 데 가면은 또 스리라차를 또 응원해 주신 팬분들께서 스리라차 의상을 입으세요. 스리라차 뭔지 알죠?
그거 찬이 형이 만든 거 아니야, 로고?
내가 만들었다고? 제가 만들었던 것 같은데.
I made it? I made it? Who made it?
기억이 안 나.
No.
그래? 내 착각인가?
No.
어쨌든 근데 많은 분들께서 이제 스리라차를 또 스트레이키즈의 대표 프로듀서 멤버로 이렇게 잘 기억해 주시고 사랑해 주시고 계셔서 자신이 많이
It's true.
생겼습니다.
생겼지.
네.
That's good.
맞아요.
맞습니다.
스테이짱.
그때 작업실도 뭐 회사 연습생 건물에서 5층에서 춤 연습실을 작업실로 만들어서
애들에게
책상,
양해를 구하며.
그치.
그래서 이제 애들 퇴근하면 그쪽에서 작업을
그치,
해요.
그치.
왜냐면 10시까지
10시 이후로.
10시 전에는 다들 들락날락 하면서 이제 지문도 찾고 그려야 되니까 했었는데
그래도 그때 연습생들의 왕이어서
맞아요.
왕이어서 그래도 좀 그 애들의 춤
Okay, this explains a little bit about their unhinged sleep schedules and getting used to those unhinged sleep schedules. Because they couldn't really sit down and get into a flow state until after 10 p.m. So, and I mean, there's a lot there. This is only part of the reason why their sleep schedules are the way they were the way they were. But it's not like they were actually getting much sleep, regardless. But I can also see how that would perpetuate throughout the years, even when they had the opportunity to be sleeping at more, like, reasonable hours, I suppose. You just get used to, like, okay, nighttime is when I get into flow state. Nighttime is when I sit down and focus, and you spend a few years doing that. And it's really going to train, especially when you're young, it's really going to train your body to like be working late at night. And that might be difficult to untrain. I know that Chan now has I haven't said Chan with like that hard A in a minute. I know that Chan now has a much more like I think he said that he tries to wake up at like 11 a.m. now. Like I think he said that he has like a much more like kind of consistent like 2 a.m. to 11 a.m. type of thing or something like that. Something vaguely reasonable like that. But yeah, this yeah.
씨를 좀 뺏어가면서 우리 작업할 거야 나가 하면 딱 나가지는 그런 시스템이 있었기 때문에 저희가 그래도 작업도 열심히 할 수 있었고
맞아요.
그러진 않았습니다, 여러분.
네, 그것도 기억나잖아요. 사실 시간 저희가 또
What was with that line? That is not what happened, everyone.
그러진 않았습니다, 여러분.
네, 그것도 기억나잖아요. 사실 시간 저희가 또 작업물이나 이런 것들을 빨리빨리 내놔야 됐던
Was he just trying to pretend they weren't rude?
정말 그 딱 정해져 있는 약속이 있었고 그렇기 때문에 데드라인이라는 것에 너무 항상 쫓겼었고
맞아.
그러다 보니까 그때는 이제 너무 급한 나머지 폰 녹음으로 저희가 원테이크로 막 녹음하고 그랬던
맞아.
때도 있었죠.
그게 대표적으로 어린 날개가 내가 그렇게 했던 걸로 알고 있는데.
Wow.
어린 날개가 아닌가?
뭐 어린 날개가
있었어. 몇 개
There were
있었어.
a few?
한세곡 정도는 그랬던 것 같아요. 아마 믹스테이프 앨범 저희 그 프리 데뷔 앨범 있잖아요.
맞아.
그 곡 중에 거의 3곡 정도가 거의 폰 녹음으로 거의 했던.
아마 제대로 녹음을 할 시간이 없어서 먼저 폰 녹음으로 하고 제출을 하고 그 다음에 아마 제대로 녹음을 했을 거야.
그렇죠.
5층이는
okay.
화이트보드 기억나?
Oh my god.
아직도
I am not at all surprised that they seem to have issues remembering how these things happened. One, it's been a while. It's been a long time. It's been a long time. Now, I know that at least someone out there is thinking, well, yes, because trauma impacts memory. And the thing is that trauma usually improves memory around the trauma. Unless it causes like dissociative disorders, which is one of our few exceptions. So for instance, and I think I've gone on this rant before, but if you haven't heard me go on this rant before, there's this whole thing on social media of like, do you not remember your childhood? That's because I just dropped my keyboard from my legs again. That's because of all the trauma. Well, statistically. Children with less trauma remember less of their childhood. Children with more trauma tend to remember more of their childhood because you're not supposed to remember your childhood. It's just your memory doesn't really work that way. You will be more likely to remember more of your childhood if you had to hone survival instincts earlier due to trauma. So people living in more traumatic situations with more complex PTSD tend, unless they have some type of like severe dissociative disorder or some other memory impairment, to remember more of their childhood. The reason I'm not surprised by them having issues remembering, besides just the fact that it has been a while, right? It's been a decade. Is also because they were fucking sleep deprived. You know what does not benefit our memories? Sleep deprivation. It does a pretty great job at destroying our ability to remember jack shit. So, not really surprised that said sleep deprivation would result that 3 people super sleep deprived would not be able to remember like whether they re-recorded some of the major songs they released or not, right? Like, all those days were blurring together because it's not like they had any nights in between. Isn't it great? Isn't it so good the way we treat young people? Moving on.
그렇죠. 5층이는 화이트보드 기억나?
오 마이 갓.
아직도 사진 있다. 뭐예요? 화이트보드 이거 막 우리가 해야
Meanwhile, Chan does remember every single photo he has ever taken. I want to know that man's camera organization method, because I know it is more in depth. I know it is more in depth than just year. I know it's more in depth than like a folder system. There are folders inside of folders. There's gotta be. Cause he's got a folder, he's got a photo for everything. Anything, he's got a fucking photo for it. And he has it up. He's not scrolling for 30 minutes looking for this photo. That's what I'm doing. And maybe I'll find it. No, his shit is organized. And I want to know how. Things I'll never know.
정리한 모든 것들이 다. 한번 봐도 돼요?
진짜 옛날 거다.
영어로도 안 썼네.
Oh god, I want to zoom in, but I can't. I can't zoom in on this device. Oh, that's alright.
퀴즈 해야 할 것, 수요차, 새로운 트랙 작업, 대회 준비. 맞네. 이게
그게 대회였어?
바라.
대회라고 하기도
뭐
Calling it a competition.
무대 준비.
이때 진짜 많았다.
많았어.
그때 진짜 많았어.
쇼케이스 오디션. 그리고 피디님 미팅. 이때 전사유랑 헤비더리 소울 재구성하고.
맞아.
엄청 많았어요.
That's a man who does not want to think about his past. That's ooh. As someone who has done creative work, my soul resonates with his.
맞아.
작업 엄청 많았어요. 월평 진짜 이게 거의 뭐 한 일주일 내에 다 했어야 되는.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
용이었죠.
아무튼
정말 열심히 살았습니다.
네.
열심히 했어요.
Oh my
서로의
god.
첫인상. 아니 뭐 이 얘기는 뭐 많이
했어가지고.
많이 하긴
형은
했지.
그냥 제가 피어싱 예뻐가지고 뭐 어디서 샀냐고 물어봤고 한이 형은 그냥 되게 뭐라고 해야 되지? 그냥 무서웠어요.
열심히
Sorry, I missed
했어요.
this.
그거 궁금하다. 서로의 첫인상. 아니 뭐 이 얘기는 뭐 많이 하긴
했어가지고.
많이 하긴
형은
했지.
그냥 제가 피어싱 예뻐가지고 뭐 어디서 샀냐고 물어봤고 한이 형은 그냥 되게 뭐라고 해야 되지? 그냥 무서웠어요 그때는. 네, 무섭습니다.
형 저희 첫인상은 어땠어요?
나?
네, 그러니까 우리가 형의 첫인상을 많이 얘기했지만 형이 또 우리 둘에 대한 첫인상을 얘기를 별로 안 했던 것 같아서.
맞아요.
Does Chan have
왜냐면
memory?
한이는 그 뭐야 회사 와서 오디션 본 거를 내가 약간 슬쩍 봤던 것 같아. 약간 스키니진에다가
Oh,
기억난다. 너
he has very specific memory.
나 그거밖에 안 입었어.
오버사이즈 자켓에다가
That's all I
이제
wore.
스냅백
아,
이렇게 입고
스냅백 기억난다.
진짜. 지워줘. 그 이미지를 지워줘.
그 창빈이는 그냥 실력
For Han.
조우님인가요?
저리
첫인상에 실력파라는 걸 내가 뭔가 보여주지도 않았는데 실력파라고 생각했다는 거는 생각보다 좋은 말로는 들리는데
그건 있었어. 작업 수업이 있었잖아. 막 릴리도 있었고 대위도
그렇죠.
있었고 우리
셋이
셋이
있었죠.
있었고
네,
그치?
맞아요.
딱 그 5명이었는데 원래 이제 좀 그 라인업을 보면은 방찬, 한지성, 대위, 릴리 이렇게 하면은 연습생 생활을 좀 한 애들인데 창빈은 오자마자 투입된 거야.
그치.
진짜 얘 도대체 뭐길래
낙하산이라고 생각했어.
Wait, he's so cute. He's so cute. No. Yeah. Oh. Hi. Oh, he's adorable. I love him. Yeah, that can definitely feel like an awkward compliment of when you just know there is no other option than to acknowledge that you were considered exceptional at something very quickly. So bless him for trying.
얘 도대체 뭐길래
뭐 낙하산이라고 생각했을 수도 있겠죠.
그러니까 이거 뭐길래 이런 수업을 받지 했지.
잘했어.
맞아. 그다음에 둘이 얘 처음 왔을 때 우리 단체 수업에서 둘이 랩 배틀하는 거 기억나?
We've heard this story so many
너무
times.
잘하긴
너무
해.
잘해요.
그때
너무
한참
잘하긴 해.
프리스타일을 엄청 재밌게 했을 때예요.
신나가지고 그냥 처음 들어온 신입생을 완전 그냥 조사 놓는데
이게
나
그때
거의 뭐 냉면인 줄 알았어.
랩 그때 당시에 랩을 하면 뭔가 무조건 얘는 깔고 가야겠다. 약간
맞아.
이런 그게 있단 말이야.
Oh, Han. Han, I've talked about Han and his methods of coping with life through anger quite extensively in many venues, so I won't really dig into it, but it's just another example, another way that he's talked about his past that really goes to show that sort of like defensive rage, you know?
약간 이런 그게 있단 말이야. 왜냐면 랩하는 애들 들어오면 항상 걔네들한테 진짜 너 한 거 들려줘 봐. 약간 이렇거든.
맞아.
근데 죄송합니다. 지금은 그때만큼 랩을 잘하지 않기에.
야, 근데
못합니다.
그때 그것 때문에
So I know that a lot of people have been talking about I don't rap as well now as I did then. And I think that there's a few things, right? And I really want to discourage people from making assumptions about why he said that or what exactly it means. Because there's a lot of possibilities here about why he said that and what it means. Yes, sure, one of them is that like I don't know, he's like struggling with his confidence or something. Sure. But I think there's several others, right? One, back then, he was very, very, very invested in rap. And we've got, when we say rapping as well, there's like a few different parts to that. There's a few different things. I don't know a ton about rapping technically, but there's a lot of different technical breakdowns. Whether that is, you know, when he says rap, what is he including in that? Again, definitionally, we're going back to definitionally. Is he including freestyling, which is something that like, yeah, if you don't practice that shit, it gets a lot harder. It gets a lot harder. Is he talking about like his speed? Is he talking about his diction? Is he talking about the way he'd think of rhymes? Is he talking about like the writing? Is he talking about the like the like beats and the flow? What exactly is he talking about when he's talking about rapping as well? I do think that there's probably a little bit of a perception bias on himself of looking back and knowing that that was something he was really invested in and was doing a lot of back then. And recently he has been, you know, very invested in songwriting, in singing, right? He's kind of moving into this rock moment, playing guitar. You know, there's a lot of things that he's been really putting himself into that aren't as much about rap as they used to be. There's the possibility that he's just acknowledging that because he's been focusing on other skills, some of his rap skills have degraded a little bit. Probably a little bit like riding a bike, where if he wanted to do some really impressive rapping, he could decide he wanted to do that, but that would require him stepping back from other things that he's focusing on right now. There's that direction. You know, sometimes when we say things like this, we're not wrong. And I think that people get very attached to the idea that, you know, someone like Han, who is an ace, right, like, is just always innately good at what he's doing. And the thing is that like he at this point does have some just like, again, if he just relied on past experience, he'd be pretty good at certain things. He's not going to degrade past a certain extent in his skills, but all skills need maintenance. There's basically no skill out there that if you stop practicing, it just perpetuates. You know, my aunt, she is a very well-regarded, like globally well-regarded flutist. And yes, it is now flutist, not flautist. I have been informed several times. Flutist. She wanted to do a thing with the church. And the church basically told her no. Because if she had done this thing with the church, she would have had to stop practicing flute more or less completely for a long period of time. And the church, and like, we don't have to get into unpacking this, but the church was basically like, listen, God has given you access to this incredible gift. And we have determined that this incredible gift is more important than you doing this thing with the church. Now, putting aside any opinions about that, the point is that like you don't, no matter how good you are at something, because again, she's very good. She is very good globally. If you stop doing it, you don't just put a pause on it. It doesn't just remain this good, and then you come back to it and you're still this good, right? It degrades. You get out of practice. And it's not like it degrades and then you get back into it and you immediately jump back up here, right? You have to spend time getting back up there. So sometimes we say things like this and they're just true. And we as fans, need to accept the possibility that sometimes if our idols say something like this, it might just be true. It could be a confidence thing. It could be a little bit of truth. It could be a bias on his own self of looking back at the time when he was really passionate about something and confusing passion for talent. It could be a number of things. So I don't think that this line by itself is worth the crash out I've seen about it. Is my point.
야, 근데 그때 그것 때문에 그 단체에서 모든 사람들이 그 흥미가 장난 아니었어.
아, 근데 그게 되게 하나의 또 문화였죠.
맞아.
그 나는 그 사람들의 재밌거리가 되었고.
맞아. 네. 아무튼 오늘의 주제는 네 스리라차의 어제, 오늘 그리고 내일인데
네.
어제 얘기를 좀 했고 오늘로 가기 전에
네.
그래도 우리 어제 뭐 거의 10년 전이네.
네, 그쵸.
그러네.
10년 됐죠.
10년 전이네.
11년 뭐 이렇게 됐죠.
10년 전에 올라왔던
질풍노도 시기에 스리라차의
이 사클 자체가 너무 오랜만이다.
악업물이라고 하기도 애매한 그
실험.
Experiments. Experimental pieces.
그지 뭐 프로토타입 1, 뭐 프로토타입 2, 뭐 이런 느낌으로. 첫 번째로 우리가 올린 앨범이 J 땡땡.
I love Chan being so generous with his wording, and it makes me wonder if he's doing that more for the sake of his dongsangs than for himself, because he's usually not this generous with thinking about his own self and his own work. And maybe he legitimately is when it's like that far in the past. Maybe he has gotten better at being that generous about himself and his own work. Compared to, you know, maybe where he was in the past before. But it's not how I generally expect him to talk about himself and his work. But I could absolutely see himself talking about his dongsangs and their work like this, right? In like feeling very passionately that like he doesn't want them to feel subpar about their early work that is experimenting. I mean, like, it is experimenting. It doesn't even matter if you're making money from something. When you're doing anything that young, it is experimentation. Or that like early in your skill set. I mean, frankly, a lot of building a skill set is experimentation. You don't build a skill set if you're not experimenting, but early in building a skill set, everything is experimenting, right?
2017 믹스테이프야.
이거는 멋있다 이름.
근데 이게 그거야. 아마 이 제이가 왜 제이지 하는데 제이가 아마 JYP일 거야. 우리가 아마 조용히 약간 새겨둔 그거일 거야. 이렇게 해서 약간 뭔가 파일 이름처럼 이렇게 한 거고. 곡들
진짜 비장했다.
그럼
We were so intense.
아무도 안 듣는데 비장하게 미리 막 준비를 했네.
맞아. 여기 안에 있는 곡들 잘 인트로라는 곡이 있고요. 틱톡 있고요.
틱톡은 괜찮아.
러너 사이 있고요.
러너 사이도 괜찮아.
돈키호테 있고요.
아 그건 안 괜찮아.
은석이가 있어. 은석이가.
I love. Oh, that one's fine. That one's also fine. Oh, that one's not fine. Oh, God bless. Oh, and then there's this freak out that's about to happen.
아 싫어. 나 진짜 싫어.
은석이가 러너 사이 있고요.
러너 사이도 괜찮아.
돈키호테 있고요.
아 그건 안 괜찮아.
은석이가 있어. 은석이가.
아 싫어. 나 진짜 싫어.
잠깐 야더 있어. 더 있어. 은석이 있고 다음이 와우.
Oh, good.
아우 괜찮았어.
아니야.
Is it?
그 다음이
Is
그 형이야?
is WoW fine? Han. Is WoW fine? Han. Baby.
그 다음이 넥스트 유인데 난 넥스트 유가 뭔지 모르겠네.
넥스트 나쁘지 않았어.
Hey. Do you want to load?
넥스트 틀어보자.
오케이.
우리 세 명의 모든 치부. 아닌 것 같다.
I don't think so.
자, 우리 그냥 러너 사이 듣자.
아무튼 이게 약간 그 R&B 그 느낌으로 한 거 같아. 나 지금 얼굴 지금 빨개지거든. 나 지금
나 진짜 얼굴에 열 올라가겠네 진심. 야야는 반말이고.
Buddy, you are 2 seconds into this. And you are losing your shit. Oh, good. Okay, yeah, I know how to emotionally damage them now. You're right. Yeah. Great. I can now threaten them with their old songs if I ever need to emotionally damage them. Unfortunately, I'm not a musician. If I were, I would threaten with doing covers of their old song. I bet I could still do that. In that no, that would be more embarrassing for me than it would be for them. It would be equally embarrassing for everyone. And the point of the damage is to do emotional damage to them in recompense for the emotional damage done to me. So, unfortunately, sorry, Vita. That's not. We might have to find a different way to emotionally damage them. I love how he's getting mad at himself for casual speech.
야야는 반말이고.
오늘 뭐해? 이거. 야야. 들어보자. 아니야.
I find it so funny that Han, who was so kind of like outrageously anti-authoritarian in some ways, or like not even anti-authoritarian, just anti-authority, right? Like he's talked about like the way that he would not take a lot of things seriously, he especially things involving authority, right? And now he's one of the members who gets like most antsy about banmal, about informal speech. He gets like really antsy and he gets really like cringe heavy about like following formality of speech rules and these sort of more hierarchy, authority related things. It's very interesting that he took that route. And I'm sort of curious about how that route continues to go for him, because sometimes people, what will happen is if they know that in their youth they were away, they might pendulum swing over to be a different way as they grow up. And then at some point they might go, that pendulum was maybe a little far. Maybe I didn't need to go that far. Maybe there was something to this. And sometimes they even out a little bit, and they might figure out like, okay, why was I like this? And what parts do I want to reincorporate into my spirit? This is something that happens to a lot of people in their 30s and 40s is I think especially when people talk about like childlike wonder and play and things like that. And as you go through your 20s and you're trying to like be an adult, and a lot of people, part of the reason they like their 30s and 40s so much is because they start going like, actually, I don't really give a fuck. I'm going to reincorporate some of that childlike joy and childlike wonder. I'm going to reincorporate some of the like questioning authority. I'm going to reincorporate some of these things that when I was a young adult, I was like, well, adults need to act like adults. And then I became a slightly less young adult and went, wait a second, that sounds like bullshit. I'm sort of curious if we end up seeing a character arc like that from Han or not. We might not. This certainly is not like a universal. It's not even a guess. It's just a curiosity. A why lie sign would be very funny, but again, I can't let myself do that. You see, my soul still cringes, is the problem. I've tried to unlearn cringe at myself, and I have not. Sorry. I'm sorry. Just listen to it once.
왜냐면 우리가 더 왜 이걸 못 듣냐? 우리 이때까지만 해도 오토튠의 존재를 몰랐어.
아예.
없었어 아예.
그래서 플러그인 자체가
없어. 이게 내가 돈이 없어.
Is that why they use it so much now? Is this like a I didn't have auto-tune when I grew up, so now I need to hoard auto-tune situation? Like, I listened to my old stuff and there was no auto-tune, and so we just decided to use all the auto-tune. They're very intentional about their auto-tune, don't get me wrong, right? And they often don't overdo their auto-tune. Though sometimes do on their own voices more than others, which is interesting. But like they do it for musicality reasons, but they definitely use auto-tune, and I definitely know a number of people who are like sometimes they're a little heavy-handed with the auto-tune.
없어서 그런지 그때 못 샀어.
그때 멜로다인도 없었을걸요, 우리?
아무것도 없었어.
그때 무직이었죠.
아니 나는 큐비스였고. 맞아. 큐비스였는데.
Okay, so shit like this, right? Now I can't fucking read these. And I probably couldn't read them on my phone either. But these are the types of things where, like, yeah, these are practical applications. Obviously, these are like tools or plugins or things. Again, I can't fucking read what these things say. But these are the types of things that, like, they know that other people don't know, right? And that when they just talk about music, they're just going to kind of casually talk about these things. They're going to just casually talk about tooling, and they're not going to consider, like, oh, is this something that people actually know about? Is this something that people want to know about? Is this, like, what all does that mean, et cetera, and so forth. You know, God knows I do that sometimes too. I've been, because of these streams and because of, like, my work with young people and students and things like that, I have been slowly but surely improving in my skill of catching myself talking about something that generally people don't know much about. But it's very easy. You don't know what other people don't know. So, like, here they're talking about tooling, which is not going to be something the casual audience knows about.
근데 그래도 할 수 있는 선에서 툰을 했지. 근데
기억난다. 오, 나 리얼로 땀났어.
Literally.
진짜 이때는 이거 계정 그 뭐야 비번 알려주면 저희 진짜 할 거예요.
개폭하자.
Nuke the account.
우리 이제 개폭해야 될 때가 왔다.
Yeah, sorry, too many people have it.
오늘과 미래만 있다.
이거 마트?
이게 쇼케이스 때도 했었어.
맞아. 쇼케이스 때 했고.
뭐였지 레드? 이게?
시작이 누구였어 이거?
날걸. 이거는 그게 있네? 오토튠이? 이때부터
없었을걸?
있을 거예요. 형 목소리가 좀 있는데요?
야 그래도 러너 사이가 100만 회인데
우리가 100만 분의 귀를 시켜준 거.
근데 우리 이제 추후에 사람들이
내가 한 50만 번
Yeah, yeah.
아 형이 50만 분 들었어?
Y'all seem to really underestimate how much a lot of stays consider Sriracha music to be part of the discography. You seem to really underestimate how much a lot of stays listen to some of your youth music. I don't think they want to think about that fact. The fact that the SoundCloud plays are only a portion of the number of plays. Those things have been uploaded in other places.
아빠가 같이 도와줘가지고.
근데 더 웃긴 건 이 앨범에서 와우가 거의 200만이야. 아마 우리가 하도
Yeah, probably because you kept bringing up
와우 진짜
그랬을 거야.
치욕이에요
a
치욕.
real
이 다음 앨범은
disgrace.
괜찮았어.
점점 퀄리티가 나아지죠.
그다음
이건 괜찮았어. 3days라는
3days.
그 앨범인데 여기서 아니 이것도 별로였어. 아니.
I love Chad. The memories coming back. Like, oh, that one's probably. Wait, hold on one fucking second. I mean, listen, I get it. I would be horrified if I had to look back on shit I did in high school. Absolutely. Now, I do have some things that I wrote in elementary school that are very good, and I did hold on to those because they're funny in the type of way where you're like, an elementary schooler wrote this, right? But like this is clearly a very proficient elementary schooler with an absolutely bizarre imagination. And like that's fun. That's a fun kind of absurdism. 16 to 20 16 to 20 is a rough age for creativity. It's a rough age for creativity. You do not usually, a lot of people do not look back on their 16 to 20-year-old artistic pursuits when they are in their mid to late 20s or older and look back on a lot of them with joy. Unless it's like abstract art, maybe.
다 별로였겠죠.
They were probably. Chan is just having a breakdown in the corner here.
별로였어. 아니.
다 별로였겠죠.
그나마 호라이즌이 괜찮을걸요?
He just keeps muttering.
아 이것도 아니야. 이거 앨범 커버도 멋있네.
뭔데요? 앨범 커버?
이거.
뭔 노래 있어요?
여기 안에 마트로시카. 그래도 우리의 그 좀 자신 있는
시즌도
곡들?
있네.
후디 시즌.
와 페이스 있다.
페이스. 고장난
페이스
나침반.
괜찮을걸요?
고장난 나침반. 플라시보.
A lot of those are good. A lot of those are good.
다비나도 있고.
여기서 이제 스트레이키즈 믹스테이프 그게 많이
Just so that anybody who doesn't know isn't confused, it's like it's a different. There's two double knots.
맞아.
포유도 좋고
맞아.
저거 좋아. 저쪽 앨범
이때
괜찮아.
괜찮았어.
저기 중에 하나 틀 거 있나?
다 괜찮아 저기는.
다 들을만해.
저 페이스 한번 들어보면 안 돼요?
페이스?
네.
페이스 오랜만이다.
나 저 노래가 뭔지 모르겠어.
페이스가 저희가 마마에서 무대를
했지.
했었죠.
했어?
했었어요. 근데 랩을 바꿔서 했죠. 난 바꿨었어.
나 똑같이 했나?
Han, we love you and your memory.
그라임?
Illuminated by light.
네, 형 먼저. Yeah.
근데 우리 목소리 어리다.
Yeah, that's because you were young.
오 잘한다.
Oh God, they're babies.
일단 확실한 지금보다 잘해.
나 지금 못하고 있는데 절대.
Yeah, so like this conversation here, for some reason I didn't see screenshots of this part. I only saw screenshots of the first part, but yeah, like he's probably literally just talking about like the practice that he was having then versus the practice that he has now at rapping, right? Like because like that type of thing, the way you have to contort your mouth in order to get speed and flow and all of that, like you need to have a number of somatic things working out for you in a very sort of automatic type of way that if you get out of practice doing those things in that type of way, you need to get back into practice doing it. He absolutely could be able to do those things again. But it would probably take some time and focus, and that would take away time and focus from other things. And maybe he just doesn't care about doing that right now, you know?
빠르다. 야 뭐야? 너 왜 이렇게 잘하냐?
괜찮은데?
진짜 빡세게 하고 싶나 봐.
제일 좋아하던 발음이 저런 게. 빡세게 되는 약간
Oh, I'll keep that in the mind when I watch the intro.
pick up the pace. Pick up the pace.
좋다.
와, 근데 진짜 그때
패스하는 노래.
랩하는 애들 같았다 그때.
페이스하는 노래인.
근데 진짜 진심으로 지금보다 잘하는 것 같은데.
와, 시스루다.
I think it also is true that there's a certain emotionality to rap that you can figure out how to get yourself back into that headspace. But when you're working on generally emotionally this is also true of like a lot of writing, right? And sometimes certain types of art. And in fact, I've known artists who have said like, well, if I stop being depressed, if I stop being angry, if I stop being whatever, is my art going to suffer? And the answer is no, and it's going to change. Your art is going to change. And I think that rap, there's certain types of emotionality and intensity that you have to be willing to harness to rap like that. That one, probably hard to harness in a like concert type of scenario if a lot of your songs don't have that type of like like that specific frequency of energy, right? But also Han has done so much work to emotionally stabilize, and a lot of them have. And when you're still in that process of doing that work to find yourself more stable, a lot of times it's not very intriguing to go back to the artistic methods that were ways to expel certain types of energy that maybe you just don't have those types of energy anymore, right? Like if rap was a way to help you process like anger and frustration, and you feel like you're at a place now where generally you are less angry and less frustrated, if you throw yourself back into that headspace, sometimes that's going to make you more angry and frustrated in a way that isn't helpful. It stops being as much of a coping mechanism and starts to be a reinforcement of something you're trying to unlearn. I'm not saying this is the case. I am saying that this is very commonly the case for the way that people's creativity changes. Again, it's not that it's making your art worse. It's that it's going to change the way you express your art, and that maybe you won't want to express it in the same way that you wanted to before. And eventually, if you try to use those same techniques or do those same things, maybe you will be worse at those specific things. That doesn't mean that your art overall, your creativity overall is worse, right? So if rap was a processing tool for them, perhaps as those things stopped being the things that they needed to process, that type of rap stopped being the thing they felt the need to focus on creatively. Again, I'm not saying that is necessarily the case. That is a hypothetical that happens to a lot of people in a lot of different ways, right? That's a possibility of a direction to consider this from.
이건 좋았어. 이건 잘했어. 난 창빈이 형 거 진짜 좋아했어.
This is fun. I'd love if they did.
Scene stealer. 이때부터 긁었구나.
야, 좋은데?
아 근데 다행이다. 괜찮은 거 있긴 하다. 어디 가서 보여줄 거 있긴 하다.
안 보여줘야죠.
안 보여줘.
We shouldn't though.
아무튼
예.
우리 어제 얘기는 다 한 것 같고
어제는
어제는 네 여러분 네 지나간
Anyway,
일은
let's never think
잊으면
about
좋아요.
that again.
그쵸.
It's good to
지나간 건
forget
지나간
what's
그럼 오늘 얘기 좀 하자면
예.
나에게 스리라차란 나에게 스리라차
뭐죠? 저희에게 스리라차는?
난 약간
In 10 years, they'll be able to look at that more and think that it's kind of fun rather than just super cringe. I feel like generally 20 years is enough time to get away from something and be like, nah, that's very silly. That's almost funny. Like I think I could look at like the fan fiction I wrote when I was 13 and I'd go like, damn, 13-year-old me. What an experience. But if I think if I tried to read the things that I was trying at like 17 when I was like trying to experiment with writing and figure things out and like incorporate emotional depth and stuff, I would read that. And you know, I'm not quite 20 years out from 17 yet, right?
스리라차가
머리?
심장?
Shut the fuck up. Oh, shut the fuck up. Shut your fucking mouth.
스리라차
뭐죠? 저희에게 스리라차는?
난 약간
You all know I have very soft feelings for Sriracha. Okay, I have very soft Sriracha feelings. If you've watched any of my Sriracha 2 Kids Rooms reactions, you know that my Sriracha feelings are like a lot. And oh no, they just threw me into feelings world. Oh no.
스키즈가 내 몸이라면
네.
스리라차가
머리?
심장?
Han said Morty, so they were guessing it, but Sriracha is my heart. That's more emotional than mind.
약간 뭔가 어쨌든 움직이게
The
하는
thing that keeps it moving. Oh
스트레이
no.
키즈가 이제 얼굴이라고 하면 스리라차는 눈. 이제 앞을
Oh, no, no, all of you need to stop. I hate everyone in this household.
바라보게 하니까 Yo, what's up?
그럼
It's your
내가
turn, man.
그럼
Yeah,
내가
let's
한이
go.
다음으로 두 번째로 얘기해볼게. 그러면
오케이.
나는 스트레이키즈가 내 몸이라면 스리라차가 내 심장?
Let's go, bang, bang, bang.
나 그런 느낌인 거 같아 약간. 형은 뭐야?
형은
스리라차.
뭐야?
Just stealing each other. I hate them. 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 I can't do this. I can't do this. I cannot be the one doing this. I'm gonna cry.
스키즈가 내 꿈이라면
Oh
스리라차가 그
no, no.
오 맞죠.
맞긴 하잖아.
되게 현실적인 얘기네요.
맞긴
약간
하잖아.
제 대답과는 조금
형이
퀄리티가
오히려 F
살짝
같았어요.
떨어져요.
형이
내가 좀
오히려
F가
같았어.
됐지.
방금 형이 되게 T 같았어요.
맞아 맞아. T 같은 약간 그런 얘기였어.
이거 편집 잘해주세요. 이거.
안 그래?
Please edit this well. Oh no.
그래도 이제 형이 두 번째로 이제 딱 나오고 편집이 될 거.
이게 또 방송 한두 번 해보는 거 아니까? 이게 또 감동적으로 할 거면 제 얘기가 두 번째로 나올 겁니다. 근데 약간 그런 건 있는 것 같아요. 정말 진짜 찐 형.
If they want this to. Well, now I have to rewatch it thinking about editing.
나에게 스리라차.
뭐죠? 저희에게 스리라차는?
난 약간 스키즈가 내 몸이라면
네.
스리라차가
머리?
심장?
오.
약간 뭔가 어쨌든 움직이게 하는.
그거요.
오케이.
요.
스트레이 키즈가
I see.
이제
I see.
얼굴이라고 하면 스리라차는 눈. 이제
그럼-
앞을 바라보게 하니까 Yo, what's up?
그럼
It's your
내가
turn, man.
그럼
Yeah,
내가
let's
한이
go.
다음으로 두 번째로 얘기해볼게. 그러면
오케이.
나는 스트레이키즈가 내 몸이라면 스리라차가 내 심장?
오케이, let's go. Bang, bang, bang.
나 그런 느낌인 것 같아 약간. 형은 뭐야 스리라차?
형은 뭐야?
Okay.
스키즈가 내 꿈이라면 스리라차가 그 과정.
오.
I don't really know what that means, I'm going to be
되게
honest.
현실적인 얘기네요.
I'm glad for that because it would give me too many feelings otherwise.
퀄리티가 살짝 떨어져요. 내가 좀 F가 됐지.
방금 형이 되게 T 같았어요.
맞아 맞아. T 같은 약간 그런 얘기였어.
이거 편집 잘해주세요. 이거.
안 그래도 이제 형이 두 번째로
This is kind of brutal because they don't do a lot of editing.
이게 또 방송 한두 번 해보는 거 아니까?
Like, there's definitely things edited out probably, and like obviously between questions there's some editing and stuff, but there's you can tell by the things they're saying in the background that like a lot of these cuts are pretty close together.
또 감동적으로 할 거면 제 얘기가 두 번째로 나올 겁니다. 근데 약간 그런 건 있는 것 같아요. 정말 진짜 찐 형제 같은 느낌인 것 같아요.
맞아요, 맞아요.
너무나도 왜냐면 저는 누나밖에 없거든요. 그 뭔가 형제가 없다 보니까 진짜 저한테 형제가 약간 이런 스트레이키즈
No,
멤버들
stop.
마찬가지지만 스트레이키즈 멤버들과도 함께한 시간이 정말 길고 많았지만 스리라차가 또 함께한 시간이
오래됐지.
정말
오래됐죠.
너무 정말
많이
지겹도록 많아서 지겹도록 함께했고.
Oh no, they're so cute. Oh no. This is how I talk about my people. Is that I'm fucking sick of them. No, 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 no. Oh, you know they love each other when they're talking about how sick of each other they are. Oh no. Oh no.
약간 꾸역꾸역.
예.
제가 연습생 때는 진짜 계속 붙어 있었고
서로 서로 싫은 날이 있을 거 아니에요. 서로 막 꼴드백이 싫고 싸웠을 때나 막 이럴 때 그래도 어쨌든 모여 있어야 되는 게 스리라차였어서 정말
That's a pretty good way of learning how to do conflict resolution in the group is to be a bunch of teenagers absolutely forced to spend every waking moment together. It's also a great way to develop some serious attachment issues, but we don't have to worry about that. Do I worry about it? You know, they're in a better spot now than they were before, so nope.
신기해요.
그렇습니다. 이거 진짜 뭐 아마 못 쓸 얘기이긴
This
한데
probably can't be used,
우리 연습생 때
but it will be.
그 한이가 성인 되는
I think that they must be used to a very different editing style than whatever Spotify is doing or something.
1월 1일 날 밤 12시 우리가 야 우리 한번 놀아볼까? 이러고 그냥 한 바퀴 돌고 다시 숙소 왔어.
아 그러니까
청담
이거 얘기할 수 있어. 이거 얘기할 수 있어. 얘기할 수 있어.
맞아. 왜냐면 연습생 성인이 됐어요. 성인이 됐고.
내가 성인이 됐던 날.
얘가 성인이 됐다. 내가 성인이 됐고. 저희는 그때 이제 멤버들 휴가를 받았어요. 휴가를
맞아.
받아서.
우리는 숙소에 있고
작업을 해야
우리는
되기
작업을 해야
때문에
됐었어.
그래서 저희 셋이서 이제 숙소에 나가서 작업을 하고 있었는데 이제 한이가 성인이 돼가지고 이제 우리 한번 나가보자.
우리 나가서
야 놀자 한번
우리
놀아보자.
성인이잖아.
왜냐면 그치
나갔어.
근데 형 이런 일인데 이게 맞아 이러면서 할 건 해야지 이러다가 안 되겠다 그냥.
맞아요.
야, 어떻게 우리 한번 갈까?
네. 그렇게 해서 새벽집을 지나
그치?
그 강강술래를 지나
그치?
김밥총을 지나서 그 제가 본사를 지나서 다시 올라가서
까마치기
다시
지나고
까마치기 지나서 숙소로
마트 지나고
마트 지나서 이렇게 올라가서 숙소로 그대로 다시 올라왔던
그때 진짜 근데 내가 진짜 별 얘기 다 하면서 왔을 거야.
That's so cute. It's kind of funny because so it means okay, so yeah, maybe it's different skijigi or maybe so well it's a JYP podcast, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know who it's produced by. But it means so it was it means on New Year's they were working as the three of them, and of course 4 members became adults that day, right? Because they're talking about the flip over from one year to another and using that as the birth date. So 4 members became adults. But since they were working, I'm almost curious if the other 3 actually went out and celebrated. Like I'm sort of curious if the other members were doing like New Year's things. And just these 3 motherfuckers were working too much or something. Oh, did they want to buy this and that? It's such a commonly used phrase there too. And so we're going to see this phrase all the fucking time. It's going to make me mad every time.
숙소로 그대로 다시 올라왔던
그때 진짜 근데 내가 진짜 별 얘기 다 하면서 왔을 거야. 옷도 사보고 뭣도 사보고 그러고 싶은데 돈이 없네. 야, 돈이 없네. 이거야.
Oh yeah, they really did have no money.
다 아무것도 없었어.
맞아요.
아무도.
그때 우리가 가지고 있었던 건 정말 컨덴서 마이크와
Condenser
노트북과
맞아.
쉴 수 있는 2층 침대뿐.
맞아.
이렇게 지내면서 이렇게 뭐 변한 건
I
없는 것 같은데 그러니까
don't-
관계상
Oh, in terms of our relationship.
오히려
I was like, I really hope things have changed between what you were just describing your living situation as and now. I know y'all have money now, for instance. Changbin just bought a, like, $5-6 million home. Like, I hope things have changed. Yes, I would assume you understand each other better after 10 years.
이해도가
알게
높아졌지,
됐죠.
그치?
맞아요.
서로에 대한 이해도가 엄청 높아졌지.
모르겠어. 이제 그 뭐야 이해랑 그런 따뜻한 말을 아무리 붙여놔도 이 지금 분위기에 뭘 더 치울 수 있는 말이 더는
I
없는
don't
거야.
think there's anything
여기서 더
left.
가까워지면 그건 사귀어야 돼. 여기서 가까워지잖아. 형이랑 나랑 사귀잖아.
우리
형이랑 나랑 그 더 가까워지면 이건 사귀어야 돼.
결혼해야 돼.
너무 최고의
I like how Han is like, we'd have to date if we were any closer than this, and Chen is like, we'd have to get married. And what I'm assuming this means is that Chan is aware that they're already dating, and he just knows that Han isn't aware of that yet. They're just waiting for Han to become aware that they're all already dating. Like Chan is standing here in pro skiz polycule forever. Like he's been no, right? Like he is fully aware of all of the dynamics, and that even if they aren't aware of it yet, this polycule has plenty of of molecules? No. Intermolecule. Don't come at me about molecules. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to know about it. We don't need intermolecule relationships. And Han just hasn't come to terms with this reality yet. So that's what I'm interpreting from those two lines. That is the only reality I will accept. So
관계도로 변한 것 같고 서로 의지하고 있는 부분은 뭐 음악이 아니더라도 여러 가지로 의지를 하고 있죠. 네, 의지를 하고 있고. 네.
뭐 요새 우리 작업 스타일이요? 저희는 변하지 않습니다.
네, 그냥 만나서 이거
Chan is the king of the Skiz polycule. You are completely correct. He is the king, and if AO3 is anything to go by, also the head alpha, I think. Or possibly the head omega, if Threads is anything to go by. Regardless, he's definitely leading the polycule in some way. Absolutely. Okay, you know what, Flimsy? You're right. Molecule can be your drag name. I will allow the use of reminding me about the word molecule for it to be your drag name. In fact, Whimsy, you can remind me of anything for any reason. That's your prerogative and you're right.
네, 그냥 만나서 이거 뭐 할래 하고 그냥 약간 30분 정도 얘기하다가 30분 얘기가 아니야. 보통 단톡에서 먼저 시작을 하죠. 그치. 단톡에 트랙 올려놓고
Since when do y'all use the group chat? I thought that Chan kept complaining that you two motherfuckers never used the group chat. When did you start using the group chat? Damn. Character growth. Proud of you.
작업 스타일이요?
저희는 변하지 않습니다.
네, 그냥 만나서 이거 뭐 할래 하고 그냥 약간 30분 정도 얘기하다가 30분 얘기가 아니야. 보통 단톡에서 먼저 시작을 하죠. 그치. 단톡에 트랙 올려놓고 며칠까지 해놓자 하고 작업 날짜 정하고
각자 쓸 부분을 쓰고
먼저 이제 창빈이 형이 스타트 끊어주고
그치. 서로 결과물을 보여줄 때 피드백 스타일은?
뭐 팩트?
그치.
뭐 이런 부분 좋고 이런 부분 새롭다. 근데 이건 좀 아쉽다. 이건 뭐 좀 구리다.
근데 애매하단 말을 제일 많이 우리는.
애매하다. 맞아.
애매한데?
서로 기분 안 나쁘게 애매하다.
애매한데 이거?
그럼 기분이 되게
I think that this is just a really common way that like healthy relationships build in feedback is straightforward but not cruel, right? I think that that's common for relationships. I think that like romantic relationships, I think that that's common for friendships. I think that that's common for I think I would say it's not that as common for work relationships because work relationships do not usually have this level of rapport, right? This is an incredibly high level of rapport for working relationships. However, creatives who have worked together for a very long time very often have rapport much more similarly to personal relationships because of the length of time that they work together and because of the depth of that connection. Potentially, to an extent, because of the level of vulnerability that being a creative takes, but I would say that that's less of it because there's a lot of jobs that require a really high level of vulnerability and you're not necessarily in as deep with all of those, so these three just have a really, really high level of rapport. Part of the way you get a really high level of rapport is through small conflicts, and resolve of small conflicts is through direct feedback and kind feedback. This is also, this is the type of relationship as well that like hopefully you have with your therapist is you get challenging feedback, but that feedback is kind, right? You get feedback that makes you feel kind of like but that feedback it doesn't make you feel about yourself, right? So listen, feedback is often not easy, but you find the ways that people will take something personally or not personally. You find the different words, right? Like, what's the difference between like this part is kind of meh, or this part is kind of iffy, or this part is like different people are going to respond to different terms in different ways because of the definitional aspect. I'm telling you, you start to realize that a lot of things in life are about definitions, and it's not just Derrida's fault. Okay? Listen, I know that I am the #1 Derrida inspired influencer in K-pop. In fact, I'm the only Derrida inspired. I'm not an influencer. I am the only Derrida inspired content creator in K-pop. That might not be untrue. It might be true that in fact I am the only active content creator in K-pop who uses Derrida as a main source of inspiration. But I'm not fucking wrong, okay? Stand behind that.
기분이 되게 애매하거든.
그럼 애매하게.
기분 나쁘지도 좋지도 않고.
애매하구나. 그러면 애매하지 않게 확실하게 바꿔야겠다.
약간 그런 느낌이야. 아니면 뭐 나는 그런 식의 뭔가 왜 이렇게 했지 하면은 약간 나였으면 맞아, 이렇게 했을 것 같아. 맞아 이런 거.
그거 있어.
That's yeah. Yeah, that's the that's interesting. Tell me about why you did that. Yeah, that's a very common in fact, that can be part of like our motivational interviewing techniques as well. If you don't know motivational interviewing, it's one of the most common therapy interventions. It's really easy. It's one of the most evidence-driven methods. It's basically the method to inspire people to change. It's I had a supervisor who once described it as 50% learning the skill and 50% common sense. It's a pretty like, I mean, you can learn it in a couple days, like step by step. Here's 6 steps to, if you've got enough patience, help motivate people to change for the long term. You got to have some patience though, and you also have to not put on like your own opinions on how things should change. But you know, one of those ways is the like, okay, I understand what you did here, right? This is our summarization of what you did. Tell me more about that, right? Tell me more about that is incredibly helpful. This is how I would do it, is something that I only sometimes use as a therapist. It's not usually a great therapy method. It can be a useful creative method depending on who you're working with. I've used it a lot in corporate. I've used it a lot with coworkers as a, not within creative spaces, but more within like, so when we do like case consults, this is actually just standard for case consults. This wouldn't be a surprise to anybody, right? Like you do case consults, you bring up a problem that you're having and you're like, okay, so here's the situation. And I'm like trying to figure out, like, I'm having this difficulty. And then as the other therapist doing a case consult, you go like, okay, well, when I think about that, I think about this, and I think about this, and I think about this. If it were me, the way I would go about this is this. And that's because there's a lot of different ways to solve the problem, right? So that can work as well in a creative way as well. It doesn't work as well if you actually want them to do that thing, right? Like if you're saying as a creative, solving a creative problem, if your thing is that like, you think it should be solved in a way, and you're saying, if it were me, I'd do it like this. I'm thinking about this and that. I'm thinking about kicking you from my stream. That's what I'm thinking about. Anyway, if as a creative, what you think someone should do is this rather than that. Hate you. And what you say is, I'd do it this way. You may or may not get the results you want. But if there legitimately is a number of ways to solve the problem, then it's a really great method to be like, okay, this is kind of iffy over here. If it were me, I would do this, right? Because now you're being used as a source of inspiration. You're being used as a creative thinker. You're being used as like, how do we do creative problem solving for this? Because the reason we work in groups is because groups are more effective of coming up with creative solutions than individuals are. Just it's more brain power, you know.
영어로 가사 쓰면 형이 와가지고 너 이거 무슨 말을 하고 싶은 거야? 너 이거 무슨 말을 하고 싶은 거야?
좀 도와줄게.
어떻게 하고 싶은 거야?
맞아. 뭐 최근 뭐 슬럼프 같은 거 뭐 그런 거 있어?
없어요.
나올 게 없을 때가 제일 슬럼프죠 항상.
특대가 제일 슬럼프죠. 진짜. 특대는 진짜 앨범 만들기 싫었어 그때 진짜로.
특대.
뭘 해야 될지 몰랐었어.
특대 곡도 또 뭐 있었지?
뭐 있었지 그때?
특은 5스타잖아.
네.
탑라인.
왜냐면 곡을 많이 만들었는데 타이틀이 절대 안 정해지고 있었어.
맞아.
그때 제일 많이.
That was such a rough time I mean, it was obviously a rough time for Han. It was a rough time in general. That was just a rough time, and I'm not surprised that they had a hard time being creatives then. Sometimes when you try to push out, too much creative work, and it does really pull on you.
힘들었어.
근데 특이 딱 한껏 했지.
맞아요. 그 시기에.
나 진짜 비니 형이랑 같이 있으면서 형 이번 거는 넘어가나 쳐도 우리 다음에 어떡해? 형 옆에서 몰라.
I don't know.
형님 그 말투 있어. 몰라.
Just do it.
이 형도 말로 이렇게 하는데 머릿속에서 아무 생각 없어.
There's nothing.
그 위에 이러고 있어.
근데 아직 나는 뭔가 자신 있어. 우리 셋이서 함께 한다면은 반응해요 빨리.
자신 있어.
But I still feel confident the three of us could do it for Get Together. They gotta stop doing this thing where they make me smile and then they give me feelings, okay? I need them to pick a direction of emotion and stick with it. One track, one line, one way, no other. The railway is too complicated. I am sorry, Pang-chan, but your transportation network scheme is overwhelming for emotional. I don't know where this metaphor is going. I'm gonna shut the fuck up.
리액션 빨리 필요합니다.
자신 있는 게 난 하나의 너희라면 스리라차라면 난 그게 당연한 게 됐어.
맞아 너무 믿어요.
너무
I
믿어.
trust
너무
us so
믿어.
much.
나는
No,
큰일
no,
났어.
no, 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 no. No, shut up. Also, y'all, maybe you're a little too enmeshed creatively, or at least honey, maybe you, I don't know if the others also get stressed when they don't have, but like, maybe y'all, I'm glad that even though Han gets anxious, he does do his own work. I think it would be really exciting for Pang-chan to make Han like just do a song himself. I think that'd be some fun exposure therapy. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of ways that maybe we help you build confidence in yourselves as individuals and not just as part of a unit. Maybe unenmesh a little bit. Did Han is Han the only one on Way Back? Is only Han credited? I didn't know that. I need to take another look at those credits, because if so, I want to hear more about that, because that's exciting. I haven't looked closely at the credits yet. I know that Tyler posted them, but I haven't looked yet. Oh, Helix is also in composition. Okay. That tracks. But no Pangchan. I will be interested in hearing that just generally because it's on pop. But I mean, like he has done things without Pangchan. I just think that means that it's good that he does. Arrangement and okay, I'll take a look at the credits.
그래?
되게 옛날 스리라차 그 자체로서의 뭔가 얘기를 하면서
재밌네요.
추억에도 젖고 하다 보니까 시간이 금방 간 것 같은데 아 너무 재밌었습니다. 한이는 어땠어?
일단 재밌었고요. 뭐라고 해야 되지? 예, 형들이랑 너무 자주 같이
I'm with you guys way too often.
맞아요.
좋아요. 그래서 되게 좋고요.
야 진짜 오늘도 1시부터 계속 같이 있었잖아 우리.
I'm with you guys way too often, so it's fun. Are you an introvert or are you just a Threeracha for in that as long as Threeracha's there, you're fine? I don't. A little bit of distance will do y'all some good, I think.
맞아요.
좋아요. 그래서 되게 좋고요.
야 진짜 오늘도 1시부터 계속 같이 있었잖아 우리.
아 진짜 이번 주 내내가 아니고 거의 올해 내내 계속
1
올해가
o'clock
아니구나.
in the morning?
계속 같이 했어서 가지고 더 할 얘기가 있을까 했는데 많네요. 할 얘기가 많아지네요.
사실 원래 뭐 술자리나 이런 데서도 옛날 얘기하는 게 제일 시간 빨리 가요. 그게 제일 재밌고.
옛날 얘기가 재밌어요.
그때 기억나 이러면서.
아 근데
Yeah, when you have
이제
non-stop
올라왔을
stories
텐데
for 10 years to be
재밌게
nostalgic
기억도
about.
없어지는 거 아니죠?
이완은
그러진
또
않을
이제 음악적인 얘기가
그치
정말
그치
많이
또 다른
나오니까.
얘기 하다 보면 그러니까 제가 볼 때는 저는 네 오늘 첫 세션이기 때문에 말을 아끼겠습니다. 왜냐면 100% 저희 2화, 3화, 4화 계속 자연스럽게 쏠쏠 나올 거예요. 저희도 지금 생각 못하는 모든 것들이 그때 가서 아 맞다 이게 있었지 하면서 나올 거라
맞아요.
걱정하지 마시고
그때까지는 뭐 다 쏟아내고 재밌게 한번.
아무튼 네 저희는 일단
Okay. Okay, well, that was cute. That was very cute. Wow, and YouTube didn't even kick me off. That's so exciting. Wow, you guys, how successful. YouTube didn't, I guess this has been out for little enough time that YouTube didn't go like, damn, bitch, you're doing a bad thing or something. Regardless, I'm tired. This was a last minute stream and I'm going to last minute. I don't have a rhyming word for stream. That makes sense. So I'm going to go eat dinner. And by dinner, I mean more of this shake that seems to work for making me be awake and functional, which is so exciting. I'm going to drink less caffeine tomorrow. Okay, a few things. One, I'm so close to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, which would be very exciting. Because then I could finally be monetized on YouTube, which would not do very much for me, let's be honest. Most of my stuff is copyright, but like some of it isn't. So that'd be cool. So the point is, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube, consider doing that. Two, no, that's not how much money I'll have. I'll have 50 cents. I'll have 50 cents more. Okay, let's be honest here. But you know what? 50 cents is 50 cents I didn't have before. So. Two, what was the next thing? I'm very close to, I'm editing a new thing that's going to be an exciting new thing. I know that means that's a few new things that I've been doing, and I'm sorry that I'm not finishing my old things first, but I get bored. So I will be releasing a new thing. That is a thing I am doing with Another Wonderful Stay. It's a lot of fun. I just finished editing the first episode. You think I can buy a cappuccino or an Americano in Seattle for 50 cents? No. No. Mm-mm. It's an hour of federal minimum wage to afford a cappuccino in Seattle. I'm not even really joking. Congrats on being like a third of the way done with your crochet blanket. Right, more streaming stuff. I'm going to do a live listen of This and That and the music video on Thursday, somewhere between 30 and 45 minutes after the album drops. I won't start until 9:45. I just hope that I'll actually be there by 9:45 if I say 9:30. You understand, but I'm 9:30 my time. You understand what I'm getting at? Right. So, 30 to 45 minutes after the album drops, I will be doing a live listen. So if you want to listen with me, you're free to, but if you want to listen before me, you are also free to. I know that many of you are still waiting patiently for my Han podcast, and I also know, so I bring this up in the Stay Bitching that I'm doing with Mia, which is that every time I open my Han podcast script, I start to panic. I now kind of have brain space to do it. Honestly, a big thing is that for the last year, my cognitive ability to do academic work has been pretty much non-existent. And those podcasts, it take a lot of cognitive effort that I just haven't had. I think I'm getting to a place where I might be able to do that again. It's just now stressful. It's just been so long that I'm now stressed out by it. But and I have to rewrite half of it now because of Back to Life. And regardless, I'll figure it out. Trust me, I am more aware than you are that I have not released an episode of my podcast in over a year. Right, so I'm streaming Thursday for the album drop. I have loose plans to stream Friday, but that depends a little bit as well because I also want to go to K-pop Nara and I also have to get some work done, so that'll be a little bit iffy. If you want to join my Discord server, I have one of those. The link is on my channel pages for both Twitch and YouTube, so you can find that. And I have stream updates there generally. That's all. There are other updates about other things. If you haven't yet dealt with my fucking How to Survive as a K-pop stan without losing your mind or your moral integrity, I also put out the first episode of that on YouTube and Instagram. That's it. I'm gonna go and do things. Love you all. Talk soon. Happy Tuesday.